Hello everyone. Back again with film recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the thriller sci-fi films from 2012, titled The Human Race. Before we get to the storyline, I'd like to wish everyone a happy and great day. Without further ado, let's get straight to the storyline. The movie opens with a voice explaining rules that says only one will win, and the school, the house, and the prison are the only safe places. The players must follow the arrows, and stay on the path, or they will die, and if they are lapped twice, they will die. The scene cuts to a large group of people, who suddenly find themselves in a strange place, and the voice informs them that if they step on the grass, they will die, after which they are instructed to run. The scene then cuts to a hospital, where we see a young woman named Veronica, who is taking care of her cancer-stricken sister. Unfortunately, the little girl soon passes away, leaving Veronica heartbroken and depressed. To make matters worse, Veronica soon learns that she has got the same cancer that took away her mom and sister. But Veronica refuses to give up, so she takes her medicine regularly, begins to exercise, and makes a change in her lifestyle to at least live a little longer. Weeks later, Veronica arrives at the hospital for a checkup, during which the doctor delivers good news, saying that she is now in complete remission, and her cancer has gone. This makes Veronica very happy, but as she is driving home, she suddenly comes across a blinding light that engulfs everything around her in white. The scene then returns to the human race, where we see that Veronica is also one of the participants, and she's just as confused as the others. The voice urges them to race or die, during which Veronica accidentally steps on the grass outside the path. Her body reacts to the grass, right before her head suddenly ends up exploding, which leaves everyone there screaming in terror and running for their lives. The scene then cuts to a flashback in Afghanistan, where we see an American soldier named Justin, who is dragging a fellow soldier, Eddie. We see that Eddie has just lost one of his legs, and Justin drags him with great difficulty, and manages to get to a cave later. The weather is intensely cold, so the soldiers hug each other to stay warm, during which they finally introduce themselves to each other. Eddie is surprised by Justin's kindness, because most men would have left him to die instead of helping a stranger. Fast forward to a few years later, we see that the two men are still in contact upon returning home, and seem very close. Justin, who now works at a school with special children, calls Eddie to come to the institution to meet the kids. When Eddie arrives, he shares his story with the disabled kids, giving them motivation by saying how they can achieve anything they want. Afterward, the two friends drive away from the school, and on the way, they stop at a traffic light when they see two deaf friends, a man and a woman exercising. During this, a stressed out woman aggressively bumps into the deaf woman, so her male friend begins insulting the lady in sign language. Eddie and Justin are seen casually talking when all of a sudden, a blinding white light appears, turning everything white. The scene cuts to the race again, where we see Eddie and Justin, along with the deaf duo, and even the stressed out woman from earlier. It turns out there are a total of 80 people in here, who are suddenly transported to this strange place. They are horrified to see Veronica's head exploding and begin running away, except for an old man who can't even walk properly. The deaf duo is confused by their whereabouts when they suddenly begin to hear a voice, which feels like a miracle. Meanwhile, we see Eddie and Justin also running in panic, and they discuss how they ended up here, while the voice continues telling them the number of people remaining after each death. The duo soon notices a man trying to run away, and as he deviates from his path, his head also ends up exploding, and now the remaining survivors are 72. Soon, they all arrive at a prison, where everyone is rushing along the path of arrows, which causes an Asian girl to stumble down the stairs and dislocate her ankle. Her little brother begs for help from the people, but no one cares, except Justin. He and Eddie bring her to a room, where the Asian siblings panic, and it turns out they cannot speak English. The boy asks for his parents, while the girl explains that she needs to go to a hospital. However, Eddie says they can't take the kids, and suggests they should leave, so Justin asks them to stay there, while he and his friend go to seek help. The two friends begin running, and it turns out they plan to abandon the kids, but Justin soon realizes he can't do this to them. He wants to help them, but Eddie reminds him that if they're lapped twice, they will die, including those kids, so Justin reluctantly agrees to move ahead. Not long after, the duo comes across a priest, who insists it is God's voice speaking to them, and that they're trapped in purgatory. He believes that if they continue walking on the right path, they will eventually reach heaven, but Eddie and Justin dismiss it as nonsense. They keep running, and soon reach a church, where the priest notices a crucifix and tries to approach it. But in doing so, he unknowingly steps off the path, and his head suddenly explodes, leaving everyone watching in sheer horror. Later, Eddie and Justin arrive back at the starting point of the race, where they see the same old man from earlier still lying helplessly on the ground. It turns out that if someone laps him now, he will die, as he hasn't moved at all. At this moment, the deaf friends also arrive there and offer to help, while it becomes clear that all of this is being closely monitored by someone. Next, the group takes the old man to a house, where they attempt to block anyone from moving ahead. It is because if any of the people lap the man, he will die, as it would be the second time they lap him. Some understand, or are too exhausted, and agree to stay, while others insist on pushing forward, driven by fear of their heads exploding. The voice continues to say, "Race or die," but Justin desperately tries to convince everyone that if they work together, they can beat this system. Next, Justin speaks with the deaf people, and asks if they have any idea how they got to this place, to which they say no. All they know is that all the people who were on the same street as them were teleported here, including the stressed out woman, a homeless woman, the priest, the old man who can't run, and even a heavily pregnant woman. Later, a Muslim man begins praying, which enrages the stressed out woman, who believes people like him may be the reason behind everything happening. Eddie tries to calm her down, which quickly escalates into a heated argument, after which she storms off into another room in frustration. After this, a man known only as Yellow Jersey approaches Eddie and attempts to act friendly. He reveals he is a professional cyclist who travels the world, and has no idea why he has been placed here with these people. Then, in a shocking turn of events, Yellow Jersey suddenly shoves Eddie aside and continues his race without hesitation, causing the death of the old man and dropping the survivors to 58. Justin immediately goes after Yellow Jersey, determined not to let him lap the Asian kids. Meanwhile, the Asian kids also realize no one is coming to save them, so they decide to move forward, even though the girl can barely walk properly. But soon they notice Justin chasing Yellow Jersey and feel a brief sense of relief, believing he has come back to protect them. Unfortunately, Justin cannot stop Yellow Jersey in time. Later, a distressed Justin explains to Eddie about what happened, and he regrets leaving the kids behind. Elsewhere, we see Yellow Jersey continuing to run, during which more people die, as they are lapped for the second time. Later, Yellow Jersey comes across the heavily pregnant woman, and he begins chatting with her. She tells him about the baby names she has picked out, and even lets Yellow Jersey touch her belly. It seems like the man finally has a moment of compassion, but that doesn't last long. He apologizes to her, saying he can't put her life above his own, and says he is passing her for the second time. The poor woman begs him not to do this, but Yellow Jersey runs ahead, causing both her and her baby's heads to explode. Elsewhere, 3 men are exhausted from running, so they decide to form a group, and kill a participant by brutally stabbing him with an arrow. After that, they wait for people at a door, and when someone arrives, they deliberately divert them off the path onto the grass, which causes them to die by accident. In this way, chaos unfolds, and many people end up dying as their plan works effectively. Later, Justin and Eddie arrive at a house, where Eddie proceeds to pee, while Justin notices the body of a murdered man and feels horrified. Justin senses someone's presence, and when he checks, one of the killers suddenly pierces an arrow into his neck. The survivors are now only 27, and when Eddie notices his friend's dead body, he is left devastated. He is driven by vengeance, and soon comes across the 3 men who were killing people. 2 men rush to attack him, but Eddie, being a veteran, knocks them off with his crutches, and kills both men without any trouble. Later, Eddie notices the 3rd guy who murdered Justin is trying to kill another competitor. So Eddie takes a wire of spikes, and ends up killing both men at once, as he's unable to hold back his fury over his friend's death. Elsewhere, we see the deaf duo, who come across the stressed out woman, and they soon notice Yellow Jersey approaching. They worry he might have already lapped her, so they all grab an arrow, so as not to let him pass. When the deaf girl moves ahead unknowingly, the stressed out woman ends up accidentally dying, as it is revealed she had already been lapped once by the deaf woman, while Yellow Jersey is attacked by the deaf man. Meanwhile, the deaf woman begins crying and screaming, believing she has killed the woman, so her friend tries to comfort her. The injured Yellow Jersey rushes off to hide in a room, where the voice reveals there are now only 17 people left. Later, the deaf woman begins to panic, as she cannot take any more deaths. She uses sign language to communicate with the organizers, and begs them to let her hear music before she dies. But when the deaf man comforts her and says that they can get through this, she fills herself with determination, and decides to continue running. Later, we see the two of them continuing to run while chatting casually, and soon arrive at a church, where the voice reveals that now only 6 survivors are left. During this, the deaf guy suddenly tries to kiss his friend, before quickly running away in embarrassment. And so, the woman approaches and explains she sees him like a brother, and even though he's disappointed, he once again tries kissing her. He then attempts to get intimate with her, but the woman feels uncomfortable and runs away, followed by the man. They soon arrive at a house, where they feel someone's presence, prompting them to grab some tools as weapons. But they find no one else, and in a fit of frustration, the deaf guy knocks his own friend unconscious. He then proceeds to undress her, and touch her, but the girl soon wakes up and pushes him away. She begins cursing at him, so the guy apologizes before running outside while crying, right before the deaf woman furiously pushes him into the middle of the grass, causing the man's head to explode. Next, the deaf woman breaks down in tears and lies on the floor, during which Yellow Jersey passes by her, but thinks she is dead. He begins carefully moving forward, but the deaf woman suddenly attacks him from behind, and brutally continues striking him with a tool until he is dead. Now, the voice says only 3 participants remain, and the survivors turn out to be the deaf woman, Eddie, and the homeless woman, who has managed to survive until now by hiding from everyone. She then notices the deaf woman and rushes toward her, leading to an intense chase between them. The homeless woman soon catches up, and pins the deaf woman down while trying to attack her with a pair of glass shards. But before she can do so, Eddie arrives and ends up breaking the neck of the homeless woman. The deaf woman tries to run, so he explains he is not here to hurt her. Eddie then shows strange bodies of unknown creatures hanging from a nearby pole, and asks if she knows what they are. Here, the woman theorizes it must be angels, and says that it looks like they are being tortured. Both are confused about what is happening, and during a moment of distraction, the deaf woman tries to throw Eddie into the grass, but since Eddie uses crutches, his feet do not touch the grass, allowing him to survive. The panicked woman tries to run away, but he manages to knock her down using his crutches. After that, he begins choking her until she dies, making him the only survivor of this game. Following this, the mysterious voice once again speaks, and congratulates Eddie on being the winner. An exhausted Eddie asks who the hell they are, and the voice reveals they are Aserid, and that he is in their human arena. Sometime later, Eddie wakes up when the voice once again congratulates him on being the winner, and reveals he will represent the human race. The voice says no human has ever survived this, but Eddie has shown he won't die without a fight. It tells Eddie to wait until there are other winners from other worlds, and until then, he can rest. The voice also wishes him luck, while stating that Eddie has a low chance of winning. In a shocking twist, it is revealed that an alien species has been kidnapping people from across the galaxy, and forcing them to compete in a deadly race to reduce them down to a single survivor from each world for an intergalactic battle. However, a frustrated Eddie tries to take his own life by stepping onto the grass, but nothing happens. He then climbs the mountains around him, and his eyes widen in horror to realize that he is not on Earth, but on another planet. Later, Eddie approaches the towers, where the alien bodies were hanging, during which a white light appears, and suddenly he is transferred to another place. The voice now explains that if he steps on the veins, or touches the fence in the sky, he will die, and his only option is to win if he wants to live. Moments later, a spaceship arrives from which a huge winged alien creature emerges, and it turns out to be Eddie's opponent. With no other choice, Eddie cracks his neck, and gets ready to fight as the movie comes to an end. Okay guys, thanks for watching. See you again in the next video.